Hello, I'm Lucas Helling. We're here at the beautiful Acadia National Park. Today I will be talking to you about the environmental factors that help shape this national park. Some of the environmental factors we will be discussing today are the original glaciers that helped form the landscape in Acadia, the bedrock formation that has existed for millions of years and some of them still exist today, the current landscape of Acadia National Park, the fire ecology of the park, and the weather that helps form the landscape of the park. First, we will be discussing the glaciers that came millions of years ago and helped form the landscape of Acadia National Park. These glaciers eroded mountains and cut broad U-shaped valleys, such as the one we're sitting in today. These glaciers are titled the Wisconsin Glacian. They leave long scratches or aerations in the rocks and polish the mountains by smoothing out the rocks. The Wisconsin Glacian, at its biggest extent 18,000 years ago, began here in Acadia National Park and extended all the way down the road to the southern part of Maine. Over the years, and as the glaciers began to melt a bit faster in the summer and warmer months than they did freeze in the winter and colder months, began to recede back into the ocean, leaving behind rock, gravel, and sand dam valleys that the glaciers carry. With the recession of the ice and glaciers, the land began to level out, and as you can see here, this once lake has dried up. Plants and animals began to settle in the area, and eventually, about 9,000 years ago, humans came too. The first humans to come to this land was the Wabanaki tribe, the original Indians of the Great Northeast. Although glaciers were very common in the area about 3 million years ago, the landscape had begun more than 500 million years ago. As the glaciers started melting and receding back into the ocean, they left behind the rocks that they had with them, such as this one right here. Mud, sand, and volcanic ash that has been deposited into the ocean was turned into rock from the pressures around. Deep forces in the earth and the tectonic plate activity helped push these rocks and landscape up from the ocean, creating what is now Acadia National Park. Although glaciers were very common in the area about 3 million years ago, the land had begun to form about more than 500 million years ago. Mud, sand, and volcanic ash that has been deposited into the ocean turned into rock from the pressures around. Deep forces in the earth, tectonic plate activity buried these rocks very deep, heated and squeezed them, and changing them to the Ellsworth schist, the oldest rock in the mountain desert region here in Acadia National Park. The Ellsworth schist, which I'm sitting on today, eventually had been pushed to the Earth's surface from erosion and shifting of the tectonic plates. Today in Acadia National Park, rocks of many sizes can be found, such as this pebble I have in my hand here, and all the way up to the bigger rocks, such as this Ellsworth schist I am sitting on today, and much larger rocks even. Think, if you want to compare, a canoe to the size of the Titanic. As you all now know, Acadia National Park is made up mostly of the rocks, such as the Ellsworth schist, the oldest rock in the desert mountain region, and the granite rock. Weathering creates granite ridges. Water fills in joints and fractures of the rocks, freezes, and expands the rocks. It expands the rocks until they crack off, creating what you can see in many of the granite rocks, a very smooth surface. Tides and wind up of rocks. It is also made up of thousands of lush trees. You know what else comes with trees? It's forest fires. Now I'll be talking about the fire ecology of Acadia National Park. Pre-1930, researchers pretty much all believed that forest fires were bad for the environment. However, recent studies have begun to show that fires can be important to the decay of dead plants, breaking down and recycling nutrients, and preparing seed beds for the future growth of the trees. Even though researchers believe forest fires were bad for the forest in the pre-1930s, forest fires have been naturally occurring for thousands of years prior to settlement. Forest fires often are natural catalysts for species diversity and a healthy forest. Without forest fires, forests can become monocultural, have excessive fuel accumulation, they can often be stagnant and below normal reproduction. Ultimately, that can cause widespread disease. As I mentioned, without forest fires, the forest can become monocultural. That's why there's theories that natives to this region, such as the Wabanaki tribe, started fires to encourage the growth of other trees, such as the paper birch tree, so they could use that for their own use. Although forest fires can be quite beneficial to the growth of the forest, it is very uncommon for what you see right next to me that there are forest fires in Acadia National Park. Heavy snowfall in the winter months help keeps this environment damp and lush throughout the spring and into the summer. Although it still gets quite hot here during the summer, the moisture from the Atlantic and the dense fog that rolls in from the Atlantic Ocean keeps this area quite cool. New weather patterns as well, and it can happen very quickly. So another thing you need to be aware about for the weather here in Acadia National Park is the hurricanes, and the hurricane season that runs from June through November. The hurricanes that come from June through November usually start in the southeast part of the US, but they do dissipate usually before reaching Maine. Hurricanes that do reach Maine, however, usually come in August, September, or October, and usually are only level 2 or less by the time they arrive to the shores of Maine. Today, I have taught you folks about the landscape and the factors that have helped shape Acadia National Park. As you may remember, the glaciers that came into Acadia National Park around 3 million years ago that helped shape the ridges and the U-shaped valleys of Acadia National Park. The other thing is the bedrock formation and the Ellsworth schist and granite that is very common in this area that was made from the mud, sand, and volcanic ash deposited into the ocean, which was pressurized into rocks from the pressures around. The other thing is the current landscape and why Acadia looks the way it does today. I also told you about the fire ecology and why it is uncommon for wildfires to happen in Acadia National Park. And lastly, I spoke to you about the weather of Acadia National Park, how quickly it can change, and why it is so magnificent here.